Right, hello lads and lasses, and welcome back to Boys Down Under, where we can all breathe a hell of a lot easier thanks to a wonderful set piece goal by Tommy Rogic, and we took all 3 points. Before we go any further though, please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate it absolutely massively because it is the best way to help support the channel grow. From you guys, I'd be forever indebted. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, normally, I'd go through, the whole match and take out key points from the match and then talk about what we can, take away from it. But I'm rushed for time. So we're going to scrap going about the match because we all know what happened in the match. We all know that it was very end-to-end. It was very back and forth, and that Celtic, we won, but it was a very grindy win. I wouldn't say it was comfortable, but I wouldn't say it was nerve-wracking. It was just a grind at the end of the day. But we're skipping the match recap, so we're going on to what we can take away from the game straight away. So, the first thing is that we need a striker. Whether it be Kyogo, whether it be Giacomarcus, whether it be Albion Ayeti, who cannot put the ball in the netty, as so the song says. Preferably, I'd take Kyogo, but we need a striker, because last night we lacked one really badly. We all knew it was coming. We all knew if Celtic didn't play Joey Dawson, and even then, if we did play Joey Dawson, we were going to lack that quality striker that you need in a footballing team. Now, obviously we got the win, and hopefully we will only play like this for, this match and maybe the match against Ross County. Hopefully these are the only 2 matches where Celtic will have no striker in their lineup. But regardless, we were aching for someone in that middle who could provide, some hold-up play, a poacher, a finisher, something, anything. Because it did shock me that Dawson was not in the team, nor was he on the bench, because you'd think that Ange would want to bring in a striker, regardless if he's a traditional poacher, regardless if he's a Kyogo regen. It doesn't matter. But that shocked me. And obviously, I'm not going to come on here and bag Ange for it, because we got the win at the end of the day. I'm not complaining at all. But what I'm kind of complaining. What I am, I'm saying that I think we need a striker now. Whether that be Dawson against Ross County or whether we can, rush I don't want to rush Kyogo back in. That's out of the equation. I want him fit and ready for the League Cup final. But regardless, I think we need to have a proper striker on the bench at least, because you can see we can create goals. We can create goal-scoring opportunities. You look, even Ayeti would take maybe 1 out of every 3 chances he'd probably score a goal. And you got Turnbull, can whip him in from ages away. He's got a rocket of a boot, David Turnbull. And, he got, those rockets got saved on multiple occasions. The Dundee United keeper had a great game. Apart from that, he had a really good game, I have to say. And, Tom Rogic, he had a number of chances. He probably could have had a hat-trick. But at the end of the day, he scored the only goal that mattered, which won us the game. But still, what I'm trying to say is that we don't have problems scoring goals. We're having problems finishing them. And without a striker in the team, it's going to be hard to finish off those chances. And, we scored from a great set piece. Would we have scored if we didn't score from that set piece? I'm not too sure. We could have been looking at a draw from that match. So, something to look at for Thursday night and something to take away from the match. We need a striker, and obviously we're in the worst of situations, having all 3 injured, and we can't bring in anyone new, so it's going to be up to the youth. That's how I view it. And because, Abada, he did okay, but he wasn't anything special at striker, nor was Mikey Johnston. Now, look, second thing we can take away from this match, and that is Joe frickin' Hart. Joe Hart has been a revelation for Celtic this season. The man kept us from going 1-0 down on so many occasions. And even when we went 1-0 up, he stopped us from going back to 1-0, and which would have probably ended the match as a 1-0 draw because Celtic weren't scoring any other chances. So, and it wasn't even just this match, all season. This is like, that match just summed up how crucial Joe Hart has been to Celtic this season, because he has saved Celtic's asses on so many occasions. He's literally been a brick wall. And for £1 million, that's a bloody good brick wall, if you ask me. Now, looking at Joe Hart, it makes you wonder, because legitimately I could not picture this Celtic team with Bain or Barkas in goals every single week. I could not imagine having those 2 in goals, because they're liabilities to the Celtic team. And obviously, it should never really get to the goalkeeper, but when it does, you expect the goalkeeper to be able to keep the team in it. And that's what Joe Hart has done, and he's done so remarkably well this season. Europa League, Cup matches, this match, it's just been consistent form from Joe Hart, and that's the one thing. Goalkeepers, they can have one or two good games, but if they're not consistent, they're no good. Joe Hart has been absolutely consistently good for Celtic this year. I can't speak highly enough of how crucial he has been to Celtic's performances this season, and I'm so glad he's only 34 years old and we have him for like 4 years, because he's still got so many great years ahead of him, and I can see him being a real key part of this Celtic team in the years to come. Now, you look at the argument that, we could bring in the youth and we could start integrating the youth and limiting Joe Hart's minutes, but why would you want to limit an informed goalkeeper's minutes? Because Joe Hart has been immense. I don't think any Celtic fan could tell you Joe Hart has not been good for Celtic this season. Now, on the ball, he may be a bit questionable. He may be, a bit hit and miss when he's got the ball at his feet, but we haven't conceded from it yet. So I don't see it as an issue. The day we do concede, maybe it is. But for now, as long as he can make the saves that keep Celtic in the match, which he is doing, he's happy, I'm happy, and the supporters are loving him. Not to mention, he brings vast amounts of leadership and experience to this team, which is something you can't just buy in any other way. Now, the third thing is Celtic's defence has been absolutely rock solid this year. Tony Watt is the league's top goal scorer. That's what you need to know. He's a prolific goal scorer, without a doubt. No one else can tell you he isn't. But Carter Vickers and Carl Starfelt absolutely shut him down. He may have, got a couple pops away, but he never got in a great chance of goal scoring. And even Juranovic and Taylor at the two wingbacks, wingbacks aren't the best defenders, but they put in a real good shift defensively. And even Tony Ralston, when he came on, I thought he did really well after being out injured for a couple of matches. You could see he was a bit on the side of caution, but he got in there and he was the same old Tony Ralston we know and love. But I think a special mention has to go out to Cameron Carter-Vickers. I cannot speak more highly of Cameron Carter-Vickers. He has been, and honestly, like Joe Hart, both men came from Spurs on, the last couple of days of the transfer window, and both have been so impactful to the Celtic team and so important to the Celtic team. Now, we have Joe Hart on a permanent deal, but we don't have Cameron Carter-Vickers permanently at Celtic. Now, originally the report was that it was a 10 million buyout fee if we wanted to sign Cameron Carter-Vickers, but a Spurs insider has then came out and told us that it's going to be more like £5 million, and the 10 million was a ludicrous fee just made up out of nowhere. And Celtic are going to need to use the clause in his loan, which is a first option clause, which means Celtic have the first chance of buying him. It isn't a buyout clause, but they have the first choice at buying him. And we need to use it to good effect, because he needs to be at this club past this year, without a doubt. He is a unit, and more importantly, he's an incredible defender, both on and off the ball. Plus, he is 23 years old. Literally, he is still in his youth. Technically, he is still in his youth. He has so many years ahead of him. Celtic need to tie him down. Ange needs to tie him down, because he looks like he's loving his time at the club, and Celtic easily. Now, I know football's a business at the end of the day. We can get 3 or 4 great years out of Cameron Carter-Vickers and easily turn a massive profit on him. That's how I view it. Obviously, we should enjoy them while they last, and that's what I'm going to do. But looking even further into the future, it could be a great investment from the board and a reason to fork out, £5-6 million on the player. And one moment, I nearly forgot about it, but one moment which absolutely showed Cameron Carter-Vickers' class and ability as a defender, it was near the end. The Motherwell winger had the ball and he was dribbling at Cameron Carter-Vickers, coming with pace, coming with speed, and he was going to try and turn him inside out, but Cameron Carter-Vickers just stayed on his feet and absolutely bodied the lad into next week. I don't even know who Motherwell are playing next week, but the lad's already there because Cameron Carter-Vickers bodied the shit out of him. He stayed on his feet, he got the ball, and he set up a perfect Celtic counter-attack. He is a unit, I can't speak more highly of him. Literally, amazing signing, and one that needs to be at Celtic past this year, without a doubt. You look at, and on the theme of transfers, we're going to stay on the theme of transfers. If Celtic can bring in, these 3 Japanese Donnies, Jota and Cameron Carter-Vickers, all for a combined sum of probably what will add up to just over £15 million, that would be one of the most incredible bits of business Celtic have done in the most recent of years. Add in a couple signature signings from Ange that no one will have heard of until they come, and then they're absolutely amazing. And Celtic could be looking at a really, really strong team for the back end of the season. And we could absolutely take this league by storm and absolutely run away with it. Which would be the ideal situation, but if we can get the right signings in January, it can set us up greatly, not just for the end of this season, but for next year, more importantly, where we have the possibility of Champions League football and a £40 million war chest. I always rave on about it because £40 million can get you a lot of bloody good players in football, especially when you have someone like Ange as your coach who knows to look in the right places. But that is all from me. So at the end of the day, we got all 3 points. We got the win. We stay 4 points behind Rangers, which, isn't ideal, but we're not dropping any further, so that's the main thing. 3 points. We got through without a striker. Leave a like. Subscribe to the channel, and until next time, hail, hail, hail.